Welcome, friends, back to another episode of the Performance Mindset Show. I'm your host, Amy Calandrino. I'm CEO of Beyond Commercial and author of the now best-selling book, which launched yesterday, From Perfect to Real. And so this show, the Performance Mindset Show, is all about leveling up in business, real estate, leadership, and life, and shifting how you think, grow, and lead. Each week, I'll bring you conversations with top performers, mindset experts who are building big lives on their own terms. So if you're ready to ditch perfection, trust your path, and grow with intention, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe, and let's get into it. So I have today with me Jutta Wohlrab, and she is actually based out of Germany, but works internationally and has actually helped attend over 3,000 births and coached over 10,000 women worldwide. So I actually got to meet her through LinkedIn when I was looking for people to talk about mindset, and really read about what she did. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have had someone like that to help a busy entrepreneur like me make the transition in my life. But for those of you listening that maybe have someone in your life that would benefit from this, or maybe you're on your own journey, now's your chance to give her a listen.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Such a lovely introduction. And may I say, the sentence, "Oh, I wish I would have known you when I was pregnant," is a sentence that has followed me, well, for a long, long time. So I will just quickly introduce myself. So hi, people. Nice to meet all of you, no matter where you are, whether you are in Europe, in the US, Canada, Africa, India, God knows where. So hi, my name is Jutta Wohlrab. And a very long time ago, I said, good news, bad news, pizza and parcels should be delivered, but babies should be born. So I can say truly, I've been an international midwife for the past 42 years. Hold your horses, yes. And I'm still loving it. And I lived, worked, and practiced in 3 countries on 2 continents. And I've seen birth in all circumstances. And as an entrepreneur, I always was very curious, how can I solve certain problems that I see, well, happening over and over and over again. Now I can say I'm a feminist since I was a young woman, because I could never understand why should I not be allowed to do things just because I'm a girl. And when I look at these aspects, feminism, birth, and leadership, all of it comes together, and I really like to combine all of that in my work. Well, so that's a little bit already as a start about me.
I think it's wonderful and something that's really needed, because a lot of women maybe enjoy being home and being a stay-at-home mom, but others may have built careers and maybe have built businesses and enjoy it and want to continue that, but then also want to enjoy being a mother. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you take your medical expertise and then combine it with your coaching to help craft, solutions and bring women through that journey?
Oh, thank you.
And when should they contact you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, if you decide to be a homestay mom for some time, that's fine, but I agree. When you run a business, isn't it your business is your first baby? Of course, most of the time, sometimes you have a baby first and then a business, or you have a business. And all the women that I know, vice versa, will always say, well, but I love my business, because if you have a strong why you run your business, no matter, even if you become a mom, you still want to do it. Plus, I think when we look into the future, we might want to be a specific type of role model and show our kids that we can be a great mom and that we can still run a business. I will give you a story about someone I met, an actress, just a little later. So first of all, when should women contact me? Well, at any time during their journey. It's a question, when do they find me? We say early bird catches the worm. But it's never too late to contact me, because there will always be something I can offer you. Now, what I usually do is when I meet those women that are pregnant, first of all, I have an assessment and see where you're at and what do you need. May I say, things are, for me, Well, life is like a pyramid, okay? For your well-being and your energy that you need to be pregnant, have a healthy pregnancy, a healthy outcome, and run your business, you have to be physically in good shape. And physically in good shape means you have to sleep well, you have to exercise a little bit, you have to know how to relax, you have to know what to eat, and you have to understand which supplements to take. Yeah, because one hat never fits all. Because this is the base of everything. When we say health is wealth, well, in the pregnancy, health is even more wealth because it's not only your health, it's also how you shape your baby's health. Because everything you put into your body, every product you use, everything you do has an impact on how the baby develops inside the womb. And so when moms say, I want the best for my kids, I say, well, the best starts right now, today and here. And I could give you a whole lecture on that, like what products to use, not to use, all of that. But let me continue. The next level is your emotion. Who are you when you're pregnant in the context of your partnership, your family, your friends, your co-workers, your team, yeah, whatever part you have. Like, which place do you take inside the system and how does your position maybe change because you are pregnant? So when you run your own business, sometimes you'll be a solopreneur or you have a team. How supportive is your team? Or when you work for someone, which of course could also be the case, yeah, will they give you still projects? Will even, like people that ask you to run a project for them when you're self-employed, will they give you a project? When do you tell people you are pregnant? So, it's very an emotional roller coaster. The next level up is, of course, your mindset. If you don't believe you can do it, people, ladies, babies, partners, if you don't believe you can do it, it's going to be very difficult to really break through. So as an NLP trainer and hypnotherapist, yeah, I can say I even trained in many countries. I know that we need to believe into certain things, and sometimes old beliefs come up. And then, of course, also our belief about our pregnancy, our birth, can we do it? All these kind of worries. Now, I always say worry is not a good advisor. Fear is not a good advisor. But luckily, here you laugh. And it's true. Fear has a purpose, okay? I love fear because fear is a good motivator. But fear cannot go into the driver's seat, yeah? Nor can worry, because these two are not good drivers, yeah? They go right, left, they take you on a wild ride, but they're not necessarily get you where you want. And last but not least, top of the cherry is whatever your spiritual belief is. Now, everything is going to constantly move through all of those levels. And so I first of all assess, hey, where are you at? What's going on for you? Which part needs most attention right now? And then I put a program together. Like I put a real, a strategy, what I would call a little roadmap for you. Say when you go the first time to New York, yeah, you look at the map and you find different spots where you orientate yourself. And then I look exactly what's going on. So I will offer to educate you and your partner to have the best birth. And there's a reason why I have 416 5-star reviews only on Google. Yay, may I say? And people wrote very long pages. That's why I say I have helped so many people to feel more confident, to feel empowered, to feel informed, to get their partners on board, to know what to do. And then around all of that, I add in all the different things, whether it's physical exercise, mindset exercises, a nutrition plan, name it, all of it, the full package. This is what I design for my moms to be and the partners as well.
That is amazing. Just from my own experience, if you give worry and fear the driver's seat during your pregnancy, it's just going to snowball and get worse even when the baby is born, especially if you add another baby on top of it. And that's actually what my whole book is about that launched yesterday. It's called From Perfect to Real, because I went through this whole journey and I worried my whole pregnancy. I was fearful my whole pregnancy. Like, am I going to be a good mom? Am I going to be a business owner? And I did not have that confidence. I had the confidence before I went into the pregnancy, but then it dissipated. And then all of that built on each other. And it affects your parenting. It affects everything.
True, can I say, and that's what I'm saying, and that's what I've learned. Because, I really, what I said to you earlier before we started, I started my journey into midwifery in 1983, the time of disco music and other things. No YouTube yet, no Instagram, no internet that worked like we have today. So, but through the years, I've looked after so many people in so many different setups. I've worked in 3 countries, from home birth to big hospital birth, risk pregnancies, really name it. I've seen it all. But I've seen the same pattern over and over again. And the problem is exactly what you just mentioned, Amy. So suddenly it hits you. Wow, what have I done? I'm pregnant. Can I do it all? Suddenly you feel so overwhelmed and you get so anxious. And when you get anxious, of course, then you go into this roller coaster. You don't sleep well anymore. You go constantly in stress. So you have a crazy high cortisol level, which again has an effect on the baby and on your birth most of the time. Yeah. So sometimes that will lead to that maybe your birth is not such a great experience. Sometimes you're lucky. Yeah, and it is. But often when your cortisol level is constantly high, babies are often born with a high cortisol level as well. And then they might be very constantly crying, needing a lot of attention. And then you are in the next roller coaster from a worry pregnancy to a worry parent. What am I doing wrong here? Don't understand you. What is going on? I've done everything. I fed you. I changed your nappy. Why are you crying? Oh, I'm not a good mom. God, I need to work because I have a meeting. Because, when you run a business, of course, you know that you're not going to lie in your bed for 1 year. Yeah, and depending even on in which country you are, you might go back to your business already after a few weeks. And it depends very much on your financial situation. But here's the thing, and that's what I clearly want to say to all of you. Some people think, no, I'm not going to spend anything in the pregnancy on all of those things. But the thing is, if you have a traumatic birth, if you have this crazy stressful pregnancy, which should be actually a joyful time, a time full of energy, full of creativity. Yeah, of course, also a time of rest. But when you have a traumatic birth, for instance, it will have a real impact on what you think, like, for instance, oh, see, it's good. A message coming in saying, message from the universe. So when you have that, well, let me point it out. Your self-image after the birth is going to be very poor. You will think, well, you feel even maybe like a total loser. Yeah, this has an impact maybe on your partnership, because if the baby is crying and you feel down, at one stage either your partner is fed up, yeah, or he or she worries all the time. This has an impact on many things, puts a lot of stress on couples, puts a lot of stress on the partnership, has an impact on your physical health, your emotional health, your mindset, even on your finances. Because fact is, when you don't feel good, tell me, how are you going to run a business? How are
You're not
going
going to make
to
good decisions.
Yeah. So you put yourself literally out of business, because, when people work with you or want you to do something for them, depending what kind of business you have, very much will depend on also what kind of energy you have to run your business and what kind of energy do you have to run your life. So all of these parts are really connected. So for me, everything starts in the beginning, and the earlier you can start with something, the better. However, there is always help. Because may I say one thing? When you work like me with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, this is often a very effective and fast way to help you change your mindset. We cannot change the world as it is, but we can change how we look into the world. We can learn how to become more optimistic. Yeah. And we can also learn how to have more resilience for times of crisis. And I think especially right now in the situation that we are in the world, more than ever, it's very important to be flexible and to have resilience. That truly is my opinion.
I think that's so true. And, it's so interesting is I'm in commercial real estate that has a lot of males in it. And they come to me too, because they know what I've been through. And they're like, what do you recommend for my wife? Because she's overwhelmed and she's stressed and she's worried, all these different things. And I said, well, getting help for your house because they've already had a baby. So, obviously it would be better if they're thinking of having a baby to contact you. But, after that, bringing in help and, getting, a therapist or getting someone to help, to build some confidence and, taking care of yourself, those kinds of things, being around the right people. Those are all the things I had to kind of dig myself out of that, because it's one thing if your mindset's not good, if you don't have children and you don't have a business. I think it'd be easier to kind of pull yourself out. But when you have all those things compounded, it's worse.
Sure, it's a lot of wheels turning at the same time. But the thing is, once the baby is there, the baby is there. Once you have this business, it's there. So, you have to be like I think a little bit like a gymnast, yeah, or a dancer, yeah, or like a five-star chef, yeah, right? This one is cooking, this one is cooking. And I agree. There's a few things you need, okay? You need your partner on board if you have one, and you have to find a like-minded community. Because, say, for instance, I teach a pelvic floor postnatal group. You have no idea how many moms come with their baby online and offline, and they hear all these babies crying while we practice. And me, I go, la, 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 la. But, sometimes you need to see you're not the only one. You're not the only one that has a baby that cries, that maybe has a sleepless nights. And then you have to learn something about it. Of course, if you can afford it to get a little bit of extra hands on board, that's great. Yeah. But again, it will depend very much on where you are. What can you get? But, the other thing is you have to find a way. That's what I teach, to do what I call relaxation quickies, mini breaks, like small breaks in the daytime. And you have to learn things about that because, well, sometimes life is busy. I know that. And sometimes we can't just take long breaks. So we have to understand again how to work with this pyramid, the food we eat, how to take quick rest, yeah, how to add a short breathing exercise in between, how to have something to cheer your mind up. Because look, sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is it that you're telling yourself when nobody is listening? Yeah. What is your inner dialogue? And there are some very basic, simple exercises that will help you to calm yourself down, release some of your fears. And of course, I love when people get me as a coach, of course, because after being a midwife for such a long time and all these other things, I understand what's going on. And sometimes you need just a bit of extra to get out of the hole. This can I say, Amy, I've worked also a lot with trauma and anxieties, or like when birth really didn't go the way you wanted. And I know many of those women, when they had a really bad birth, whatever bad birth means for them, some of them were so traumatized. I mean, they were almost in shock. Yeah. So I said to them, look, this is not a good state to be. It's not a state to be a mom, and it's not a state of how you should do your time, like your parenting time. And can I say there are so many great techniques that even after a few sessions help you to really snap out of it. And that makes such a difference. Yeah. Life is not always, yay. In German we say life is not always like a pony farm. You don't say that in English, but you know what it is. You get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, that is something I think. So that's why I tell people, look, don't think there is no help at any point. There is always help somewhere along the way. You really just have to go and get it. My opinion.
Well, it's never too late.
It's never too late. Let me tell you a story, a while ago, I met a woman who is an actress. Now you can say she has a lot of money. Yes, no, maybe she has. But she said, for her, it was very clear. She wanted to keep on working and she got an amazing offer, but it was literally 4 weeks after her C-section. She knew she needed a C-section. And she was really twisted. Shall I take it? Shall I take it? Or shall I take it not? But she took it and she had 2 babies. And she said, she always wanted to keep on working because she runs a travel show. So, it was like she couldn't really not do it. But she said to me, people thought she was crazy, but all her life she kept on doing that. And she said when her kids were small, she had a lovely neighbor. There was an older lady that was like an auntie to the kids that would become the babysitter. And she would tell her kids, well, mom has to go now, say like for a week. Mom has to go and do something she really loves. And then when mom comes back, she will tell you all about it. And I thought some people would say, wow, you leave your kids for 1 week with your husband and a nanny. You know, the kids were then already toddlers. But she also said, and I agree on that, she wanted to show her kids that moms also sometimes do things that they really love, that makes them happy, and that will make them, in this case, I think, a better mom. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I think it's true. And with the stories about trauma, I've worked with women that really had traumatic births, women that also had lost many pregnancies, women that had lost, babies, all of it. That's sometimes also happening. And I want to give you a story of one of my clients who was from Indonesia. So she moved to Germany and she came to my pregnancy yoga. It was all during lockdown, COVID, yeah. And I said to her, so how's it going in your pregnancy? And she was like, yeah, good. I said, well, can I consult you? Because she was looking for someone to consult her. So I invited her. And then she told me that this was actually her second baby. And I said, wow. And then she told me, okay, she had lived on a big island in Indonesia. She was pregnant and she didn't feel good. She had a crazy headache. And she told her doctor, I think something is going on. I don't feel good. Maybe I should go to the hospital. But the doctor kind of looked at her and said, no, it's fine. And then the next few days was a big public holiday. And she said, I felt so awful, but my doctor was closed. And he had told me not to go to the hospital. So I stayed home. The next time when I went to the doctor, there was no more heartbeat. This lady was already quite high up in her pregnancy. And in Indonesia, you don't get much help for those things, okay? She had to birth the baby, and that was it. No one offered her any consulting, anything about it. So now it was 3 years later, she had moved to Germany, and I met her, and I said to her, well, really, we have to work on that, because otherwise this pregnancy will be overshadowed by the grief, by the fear, by everything, yeah? So I worked with her, and she speaks okay English. She understands English really, really well, but of the language, like what she speaks, the ability is a little bit limited. But she was sitting in my studio for that session, and I worked with her. Then she sent me a text message. She said when she left, she said, Jutta, I left your practice, and the sky was so blue, and I felt happy for no reason. I thought that was good. So next time when she joined me for online yoga, I asked her, so, Melissa, how's the sky? And she said, Jutta, the sky is still so blue. That was her way of expressing how happy she felt. And she was smiling. Now, we did 3 sessions. That was it. She had a fantastic birth. She joined me for my online weekend course. We did a bit of hypnobirthing, which I created my own style of hypnobirthing. And I said to her, your husband, he needs to come as well for something. And, again, can I say, okay, in Indonesia, men are usually not very much involved in the birth. And of course, in that story, there is no work that is done on people. No one offers them up psychological support or anything. So the husband came along to the childbirth class because what was interesting, he always noticed his wife felt really good after the yoga because everything I do is sort of involved with everything I do. And he also noticed the difference, how she felt after she had seen me for those trauma sessions. So he came along. And what really, really made me so happy, first of all, Melissa had a wonderful, really, really good birth. I think like 5 hours. And she told me, my husband was so supportive. He was massaging my back. He was holding my hand. He was breathing with me. And so I think, sometimes what looks like not so much from the outside, it was not 20 sessions or something, had such a huge impact on the life of people. And I can tell you, I can give you many stories like this. That's why I tell people, look, don't suffer, not from fear, not from anxiety, not from trauma. Get it out of the way because, don't let fear or trauma rule your life. Honestly, your life is too good. Your pregnancy is such a valuable time and, you should really enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think no matter what, there might be an opportunity for a tune-up for somebody, so to speak. You don't necessarily have to have a complete overhaul, but just making some refinements to make an overall better experience.
Yeah, of course, I mean, and what I said earlier, when you think about entrepreneurship, it's a bit like pregnancy, isn't it? You jump into the cold water and yeah, sometimes it goes easy, but isn't it also as an entrepreneur, you have to learn about how to run your business. You learn there is no failure, there's just feedback. But of course, yeah, everything we do in life is we have to observe, is it working? Is it not working? Does it need changes? And you need the same thing for everything. Your health is your wealth. If you're not healthy, you're not going to run your business. You're not going to have a great pregnancy, not a great birth. Anything, whatever it is, yeah. If you feel like you're not really connected to yourself, the baby, or your business, your team, no good. If your mindset is, oh, I can't do it, I'm fearful, you need to have a bit of a brave heart in you. But also you have to be smart, yeah? So mindset is also reflecting, but also telling yourself, I think most people tell themselves a lot of things that are in fact not true, yeah? We tell ourselves, no good, can't do, not sure, all of it. But I think it's just your own inner dialogue. You can also learn how to change whatever you say to yourself. And you change a lot of things when you change your mindset. That is true. Can I say a story from my own life? I used to have a crazy fear of height. Yeah. I could not even go up a household ladder. However, I managed to go hiking in the Himalayas long time ago. But it was a bit stressful at times because sometimes I had to crawl on all fours. People were laughing, ha ha ha, what are you doing? I just said, sorry, I have a fear of heights. That's the only way how I can manage. Well, later on in my life, I did NLP and hypno, and I was able to let go of my fear. So in Toronto is a very big tower, yeah? You know that tower? Yeah. So when I spoke on the World Congress of Medical Hypnosis in Montreal in 2000, I think 18 or 19. I spoke about hypnosis in childbirth. So then I took a trip to Toronto. Aha, I thought, what can we do here? Oh, that big tower. I thought, right, Jutta, shall I or shall I not? And I thought, come on, brave heart, give it a go. And so I did. So I did this walk around the tower where they put you in this little harness and stuff. Yeah, just to show. And I have to say, on the first thing, they will ask you to step forward. So one foot was easily going forward and the other one was almost like, so I said to the guide, sorry, one foot is still a little bit in limbo, just can't make it. We'll give it a bit of time. But I did everything, leaning into the city, up and down, everything. So I'm telling you, your mind has great power. So that's really, and last year to add in, just to show you people, that I'm not a wimp. I like to try out things. When I was 25, a long time ago, I did my first fire walk. Yeah?
Oh.
Walking over hot coals. That was a long time before Tony Robbins did that. But last year I did it with Tony Robbins again. And it was the same thing, I think I was 25 years old and I saw it in a small booklet. It was a small magazine. I said, Firewalk. And I said to my friend, great, I'm going to do it. She said, you're crazy. You haven't even read the program. I said, I don't think I need to. It says very clearly in the title, firewalking. So I went to take this workshop. Friday, we arrived. We did some exercises. Saturday, 30 women were walking. We are over a very long carpet of very hot coals. And it was the most amazing experience because it felt like cool moss. And so already at this age, I learned, well, the mind can change a lot of things. Yeah. So whether it's ice baths or firewalk, whether it's like walking on the tower in Toronto, it's not, I'm not the bravest person in the world, but I sometimes just think, what is there to lose? Okay. Maybe better to change my mind and really just do it. Yeah. And that's what I want to tell you. There's so much in just do it. And sometimes, okay, you get someone to help you to just do it. Right, Amy?
I usually have bracelets on me and it says do it, like on my bracelet, like to remind myself, just do it. Like if you want to work out more, if you want to sleep more, if you want to read more, if you want to do anything, you just do it. It's interesting you bring that up though. going to a gala in New York City, and it's on the 101st floor.
Yay!
And last year, I'm like this, holding on to the building. And I told myself in my mind that I don't want to do that this year. And like, I am going to be confident and go out there. But how would you do that for someone like me that even watching it on TV, my hands start sweating?
Well, my word is the best thing would be a quick NLP session. Yeah. I'm honest to you. That is what I would do. Because, some fears are whatever, which reason. You see, like I had this fear of heights since I was a small kid. When I I grew up in a small town in the south of Germany, and this town has a castle and very long stairs going down into the city. I was never able to walk down those stairs. I was crying, holding on to my dad. I was screaming. My dad had to literally pick me up. I had to close my eyes. I could not walk down those stairs. And it was for a long, long time like this. And I can't tell you what triggered it, but I know that when I did one session with NLP, there's something called fast phobia cure. It's amazing. And it really, really works. It works really well. Oh, I wish I could come to this gala on the 103rd floor. Oh, evening eleganza in a long dress. Oh, Amy, rock it. Come on, show up like a queen. Yeah, here I am.
And last year I dressed up, but it didn't go like super over the top. But this year I'm doing the full hair and the makeup, and I'm having someone come professionally to do all that. And I've got these super shiny gold shoes and super sequiny dress. I'm super excited.
Ah, amazing. I love it. I've just been on the 8th of March in the House of Parliament in London. I'm part of a club called Global Women Club. And we also have a club in New York. So I'm coming hopefully to New York this year to visit that club. But anyway, we had a big International Women's Day gala, red dress, evening eleganza. Loved it. But of course, it was not on the on the 103rd floor in New York. It was, but House of Parliament of London was a great thing too. Now, yeah, anyway, so, there's a lot of I'm every woman in all of us, isn't it?
That's amazing. So outside of doing these different, what are some other ideas around whether you're a mom or anyone to kind of shifting your mindset and developing a stronger mindset?
Okay, when you want to work on with your mindset, I think there's a few things. Okay, one thing you can always ask yourself, is it really true? Yeah? The thing, like when you think something, you step out of the picture, you ask yourself, come on, is it really true? Or is it just me telling myself and sometimes people around me? The other thing is, if you want to achieve something, there's an old rule in business and in life. When you want to achieve something, you surround yourself either with people that have already achieved what you want to achieve, or at least believe you can do it, right? You don't listen to the people that tell you, oh, no, you can't, it's not possible, you're so weak, no. Don't. That's not helping. People sometimes, not because they mean bad, they want to stop you from something. Sometimes because they don't feel brave enough to do it, whether it's having a natural birth or whether it's running a business. Okay, and then I think what I call is train your brain. Yeah, that is daily exercise. Train your brain. Now, train your brain is, for instance, listening to something like a hypno thing, or like telling yourself certain things, going to the mirror, saying, hey, I'm cool, I can do it, bringing your arms up and down, like a small exercise, a tip for all of you. There was a big study about the brain because I love neurobiology. Okay, can I just quickly share the research?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. So what they did is they did a study with a group of students. Half of the students were sent off to a room. They were asked to, for 2 minutes, go like, yeah. Really like full power. 2 minutes, that's it. Then all the students went for an interview for jobs. And afterwards they looked at which group got most of the jobs. Now, when it came to level of education results, they were almost all the same. So, it was not like, wow, this group had better, results from studies or something. Anyway, I think 90% of the students that were hired for a job were the ones from the group that had done 2 minutes of yeah. Okay, why is that? When you think about someone, an athlete, someone who is a winner, when they hold their cup, what kind of movement do? They will always go, yeah, like that. When you do this, your brain releases testosterone, yeah? And that gives you a feeling of confidence, like this, internally. And that is what you feel, and that is what the people feel around you. So 2 minutes every day, no matter how you feel, I don't care. You put up a big sign and you tell yourself 2 minutes of, yeah, you can put some music on and go, yeah. That's one thing. This is a simple exercise you can do. Before you speak to a client, a customer, before you go on a stage, these things are great to really build up confidence, okay? So that's a daily exercise. Then, of course, to change your mind, as I said, sometimes you just need someone to help you along. That's why I love NLP. That's why I love coaching. NLP is a very fast way of helping you to change your mind. There's great exercises, whether it is self-soothing exercises, EMDR, whether it's 6-step reframing, all kinds of things. And they don't take hours or days. These are things that you do once or twice, maybe 3 times, and that will help you to change internally. Now, if you say no resources, I'm out of my last penny, can't do it, then at least I would tell you to every day write down your goals and write down, I can do it underneath. The brain likes hardwiring. Everything you write down, again, a study a long time ago was when students, after they finished their studies, were asked, what do you want to become in your life? Write it down. The ones that wrote down, I want to be this, I want to be that. Many years later, to be honest, the ones that had written down their goals had achieved their goals, and the ones that hadn't written down their goals hadn't reached their goals. The brain likes good instructions. The brain doesn't like things like, I want to be happy. If you say, I want to be happy in my life, my question would be, what is happiness? When you say, I want to be successful, I say to you, Amy, what is success for you? What does it mean? Does it mean you have a Lamborghini in front of your house? Or does it mean your mortgage is paid? Does it mean you have whatever, $5,000 income every month? Whatever it means. Does it mean you have 3 kids? Success is a big word. But the brain wants to know, yeah, what exactly? Because for some people, success will be, I made my million. For some, I got a job, I opened my business, I have my first 10 clients, I have clients that have booked me for a whole year, or whatever. And in birthing, it can be, what do you really want? When people say, I want a good birth, I say, well, I want the most positive outcome for you at the birth. But the question is, what kind of birth are you aiming for? So you can always put everything in relation, yeah, whether it's business or whether it's life. And that's what I think. So here, the wisdom out of the horse's mouth, right? Okay. And then sometimes you will see change can come unexpectedly because you do all the groundwork. Suddenly something disappears and you think, hey, it has gone. Now, let me say one thing. There's a man called Dr. Martin, my brain. He's the founder of Dr. Martin Seligman. That's his name. He's from the US. He is in his late 80s. He's famous because he is the founder of positive psychology. Now, Martin Seligman said, I was born a pessimist, but I learned to become an optimist. Now, he is very famous in psychology and in NLP and those things, because in the 60s, when he was young, he actually investigated what do happy people do. The only thing people did in those days was they were researching about depression. But he thought, well, depression is one thing. but which inner strategy do people have that are happy? So let me be quite clear. And that's something for all of you. When you wake up and you feel like, oh, I'm anxious or in a bad mood, ask yourself, what tells you that you are in a bad mood? Usually it's a feeling or a sound of your voice or a thought from any place in your head. When you think you have a negative voice, it usually talks from one side. But when you have this positive voice, it talks from the other side, right? Can't do it, blah, 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 blah. Too weak, not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Too fat, too burp, whatever it is. Yeah? So then you have to think, okay, that's the strategy for getting into a bad mood or anxious. What tells you you're in a good mood? Yeah? Is it you wake up and you feel like, yay? But where is this yay feeling coming from? Where in your body can you feel it? What are the things you do when you feel good? Do you jump out of bed? Yeah? So you can, in a way, learn about your own inner strategies. Now, it sounds a little bit like work, but if you have no one to look for it, that's something you can do. And you can always, every day, when something happens that makes you feel anxious or unhappy, again, you step out of the picture, you hold up a stop sign, you say, I think right the opposite. And then you think, what is the good thing in that scenario? What can I learn from that? And how can I reframe it? Say, 2015, I went to Nepal. I'm a big time traveler, by the way. I've been all over the world. So it was my third visit in Nepal, a country I love very much. So I had a new, call it, a new love at this point, a Frenchman that I had met in India. And I had to go back to Germany for speaking on a conference. So I said to him, let's meet again and see whether, this is maybe a relationship that has a future or not. So we met in Nepal, and it was a Saturday morning. We wanted to take a motorbike trip up to the north to Mustang. Yeah. And that morning we went to breakfast. I remember I was looking into the window of a little shop, a typical shop with turquoise and coral jewelry. And I said to him, oh, let's go have one coffee and then we go get the motorbike ready. When the earth was shaking, there was crazy sounds. People were holding on to me, going, oh, manipat mahung. And anyway, to keep it short, it was the biggest earthquake that Nepal had ever experienced, 7.4 on the Richter scale. Now, we were right in the middle of it. In 90 seconds, everything was destroyed around us. People dead, people wounded, houses completely collapsed. And we stayed 2 weeks in Nepal. Now, in just 2 weeks, we fled from Kathmandu. We had no idea where to go. We found a small place, I call it the place of hope, a tiny little village in the mountains. And I helped a lot of people there. But when I came back after 2 weeks, I had a total meltdown. Yeah, I cried. I felt bad. I felt like I should have done more, even that I had helped so many people. Anyway, I have a friend that lives in Nepal. She's Australian, an artist. And when I was in Nepal during this earthquake, I found a place where there was a little bit of internet, and I made a video saying, okay, people, please donate. It's very bad here. And people donated a total amount of 5,000 euros to me. That is a lot of money. So I handed it over straight to my friend, who with her Nepali neighborhood, really they organized trucks, tents, and they went to a village with untouchables, the last place where people would get help. So I know me being in Nepal helped a village with 100 people, that would have never gotten any help. So, then I went to Spain, part of my NLP trainer's training, and the topic was trauma. I had booked this a year earlier. I was sitting in front of 30 people, crying my eyes out, feeling really bad. And I learned that in just 2 days, I could let go of this whole trauma and come back to my inner self, my authentic self, my happy person. And what I always say is, I'm so grateful I had this experience of this earthquake. First of all, I know just from being there, I have helped many people while I was there. Then I told people the story and people donated. People put 20 euros out, 50 euros, whatever. I collected 5,000 euros, not even saying, give me money. I was just telling the story. And that was incredible. You know, like $5 is 10 kilograms of rice. Can you imagine how much 5,000 euros can do in a country like this? It was really mind blowing. And being in Spain on my NLP trainers training, I learned how trauma feels, but I also learned how it feels when your trauma is finished. So to be honest, I'm ever grateful for this experience. Would not want to miss it, not 1 minute in my life. There you go.
Wow. It's amazing those experiences that impact you, but then also change the trajectory of things afterwards. And you have that opportunity to, like you said, return to your authentic self.
Yeah, and you asked me about mindset. So here's the thing. Mindset is a tricky thing. Mindset is like a monkey. So I think what it requires sometimes is a little bit of daily exercises. Minimum is at least when you feel stressed that you start doing some breathing exercises. Something very simple is box breathing. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold your breath for 4. Open lips. Exhale to the count of 4. And then hold your empty lungs for 4. Yeah, that is super simple. That is one we can do that straight away hits your amygdala, the place of your fire alarm in the brain, and calms it down. Yeah. I mean, I have to say I could give you so many little tips here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many little things you can do. But sometimes you also, as I say, you really need someone to help you a bit, guide you through, teaches you something, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, I'll use the reference into like Nepal is you need a Sherpa to lead you up the mountain.
Yeah.
It's like if you haven't climbed the mountain before, you don't know what's going to stand in your way. So getting that extra help. So before trouble hits, you have that Sherpa helping you up the mountain.
Yeah. And like what I said earlier for all my pregnant women, it's the same thing, You have to, when it comes to pregnancy, well, you have to learn something. You have to understand how it works, whether it's pregnancy or business. Then you have to learn how to implement things. Yeah. So knowledge is power. Know-how is empowerment. It's great to understand something, but then you have to put it into practice. Yeah. And then, of course, you need, as I said, I repeat that, you need to be in good shape physically, but you also need to be in good shape mentally. When you bring all those tools together, yeah, that's when things start working. And even if sometimes you have a crisis up and down, that's okay. That's life. But when you have a strong foundation in those things, yeah, you can overcome every obstacle and every crisis in your life. Yeah, even if you sometimes think, not sure if I can do it. Well, I believe you can. Yeah, and that's something that I experience in my own life because, in 62 years, I can tell you many things have happened. That is for sure.
Well, this has been wonderful. I'm so glad that we got to chat and get just as much energy and knowledge and everything that oozed from your LinkedIn. And so I'm glad we had this time together. So how would it be best for someone to reach out to you if they're looking for help?
Or if they want to get in touch with me? Yeah. Yes. They can get in touch. Hello. If you want to get in touch with me, it's very easy. Either you contact me through LinkedIn or you go to my website called www.elementsofbirth.de, or you can find me on YouTube, Jutta Wohlrab Midwife, on Instagram, Jutta Wohlrab. Best is, to be honest, to send me an email or to contact me on LinkedIn, any of those channels. On my website, you can also find my telephone number. It is the only number I have. And of course, you can contact me as well through WhatsApp. That's fine. But you have to say your name and what it is you want. Please do not just write hello, because I get a lot of hello. It's like, yeah, hello. So just say, my name is so-and-so. hey, I heard you on Amy's podcast and I would like to get in touch with you, because then I will send you a Calendly link and you can have a free consultation of some 20-30 minutes where you can tell me what is going on for you. And then I will tell you if I believe I can help you. Because sometimes if I can't help you, I will straightforward tell you I can't, but I will for sure find someone who can. And if I can help you, I will make you an offer. And, you and me will have a nice chat about life, who you are, and really what the heck really is going on. And that's it. It's very simple. It's very easy to get in touch with me because I'm a people's person, of course.
You're in the right line of work. That's awesome. So,
Thank you.
well, I want to thank all my listeners for listening to another episode of Performance Mindset Show. If today's episode gave you something to think about, please share it and subscribe. And if you want to go deeper, grab my book, bestseller. It's From Perfect to Real. It's all about dropping perfection and thriving your own way. You can also connect with me at beyondcommercial.com and amycalendrino.com. Until next time, stay grounded, keep growing, and keep showing up for you. This is Amy Calendrino signing off.